Michael Irvin, you were there on the sideline with Keyshawn. What did you see Saturday in Boulder?
Man, it's great, too, and it's interesting because I didn't know that clip was going to be played before we started talking, guys. And honestly, it was a moment for me to be there, you know, because, a couple of years ago, Les Miles, when he was in Kansas, brought me in to speak at the coaching conference. And I want you to understand how I see coaches. You know, I lost my father my junior year in high school, and things got kind of a wreck. There's a coach, Coach Smith at St. Thomas, that came in and pulled me up and gave me an opportunity. I wouldn't be sitting here without him today. Les brings me in to speak to a coaching convention, a whole coaching convention. I titled this The Most Important Occupation in Our Country. I subtitled it The Gathering, Guarding, and Guiding of Our Youth, because that's their job. That's their job, to gather them for the wrong elements, get them to guard them from those elements, and then to reach down inside and pull out what's great in each of them. When we send our kids, all of us, when we send them to college, we send them as kids, and we ask coaches and teachers to send them back as men. Nobody has ever stood up and gave a speech and said, I want to thank my politician. It's always a coach or a teacher. That's why it's the most important occupation in the world. And watching kids grow to men, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. I saw that Saturday. That's what I saw. When you say, what did you see? That's exactly what I saw, because I watched those guys for the last 6 quarters, those young men that went in and played against Oregon and then Saturday against USC. I watched them step up in this big world where these are top 10 teams and everybody doesn't believe you belong here. And for a matter of fact, for a little while, I don't think they believed they belonged there. For those 6 quarters, they didn't believe they belonged. That last half, they grew up. That Colorado team grew up. And I'm just sharing this with you because at the end of the game, Deion was walking off the field. Now, he's my best friend, but we talk about it in church. We talk about it all the time. There's nothing more important than order. Just because he's my best friend, I can't run over the time. You know what I mean? I still sit my butt on the sideline, and he was walking off the field, and he looked over, and he came over to me. And I'm worried about him because I love him. I say, hey, you okay? You all right? He said, I'm all right. I said, hey, man, they grew up tonight. I saw growth. He said, that's exactly what I was going to say to you. Then he said, well, we let the first half get away. You saw kids turning into men. That's what I saw on that field. That second half was incredible. Tommy Harris, who's one of the coaches, could pull me aside. He said, hey, I need you to talk to somebody. We got to put him in the game. And they put in that young kid, Miller, put him in the game. And I told him he's a freshman. I said, hey, man, this game's going to be big. All you got to do is be patient. Whenever you think you don't have time, you have time. This dude ran an out route, and it was a beautiful out route. And Shedeur threw the ball. He was still in the route. Then he came out. That was great. That was great. He went on and had almost 200 yards in that game. He grew up that game. You know, that was the greatest thing in the locker room afterwards, seeing that. Those kids for 6 quarters didn't believe they belonged that last half. They found out they did belong. I was going up and down the sideline, guys, and telling these guys, because Key, I had just talked to you. Remember, you said, I'm going upstairs. I said, okay, I can't leave right now. I went up and down the sideline because Key had said, Key and I was talking, now, if they can get it, we can get this thing close. They can get tight on the other sideline. I was telling Key that they'll get tight on the other sideline. Key said, and as they got it close, I went up and down the sideline saying that these guys will get tight. They'll get tight on the other sideline. After the game, kids were coming up to me. And they were saying, Michael, thank you for talking to us. Now I know we're ready. I saw that growth in them. It was an incredible thing to watch. And Deion talking about that. How can you not be inspired by that? And I get people all over me saying, Michael, you should be doing that, you should be doing that. No, I'm going to be where inspiration and motivation is. And especially if it's at the hands of my best friend, I'm going to be there. So I'm telling you, it was, even though they lost the game, I thought still, quite an accomplishment and quite a gathering and growth for those young men.
You know, you say, Skip, what did we see there? Yep. I saw USC spot Colorado, or Colorado better yet spot USC 21 points. Right. You say, well, how could that be? Easy. When you think about the run, the touchdown from the running back of USC, they had him bottled up. But when you have lesser athletes like USC has in Colorado defensive line-wise, if they were good athletes on the defensive line, closed the gap, chased it down. That's coming, as Deion keeps saying. That's coming. So now you get him running wild. He turns the corner. That's touchdown. That's a spotted 7. Then you look at Caleb Williams in the pocket. He had all day to pat the ball, sit there.
Ridiculous. He had 2
Go
days.
get a sandwich, come back. Is it still available? Now Taj Washington just breaks free.
Yeah,
he heaves the ball. He catches it, and they not going to catch him.
Right.
Period. He's a sub 4.3 guy. They're not going to catch him. So now you sit there and you go, okay. Then the botch punt.
What
now
was that? What's he doing?
He took too long to get rid of the
trying to
rugby
become
style.
a rugby punter. Like, he didn't do that.
He took too long. So now they block it. They're in their own end zone. Now you just come out, boom, a seam route to Mario Williams. Now that's 21 points. So at halftime, I'm talking to Warren Sapp. I'm talking to the playmaker here, and I'm saying, look, if they can come and create some noise in the second half and erase what happened in the first half of spotting them at 21 points, then it'll be a game. And then I told playmaker, I said, it's a little hot down here. I'm really dark, and I have on dark clothes. I got to go get some shade. I'm just going upstairs and sit in the box, man, because I knew that Colorado would certainly change things the second half. SC tends to get weak in the second half on defense. Colorado has shown the propensity in the second half to get better on the offensive side of the ball, and Shedeur stepped up. When you look at the 2 quarterbacks, I mean, you know, Shedeur doesn't have everything that Caleb Williams has at his disposal. He doesn't have those weapons on the offensive side. He doesn't have that running back, that big of a beast that we got from South Carolina. Okay, and for all intents and purposes,
doesn't have the line.
He doesn't have the offense. It's a lot. He's working with more than Shedeur.
So measure the man on distance travel.
Not only that, he's been playing college football 3 years at the Power 5 level. Shedeur has only been playing it 4 games. So I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at it and saying to myself, okay, this team is sitting down now has an opportunity, like Deion said, over the next several weeks. When you look at the schedule, there's Arizona State, Stanford, UCLA, and then they get a tough one at Oregon State, and then they play Arizona. So when you talk about the next several weeks, this team can be totally different. They got a chance. Look, man, they're sitting at 3-2. They've already won. They were 1-11 last year. They've already won.
And more's coming now. More's coming.
Because
the best talent they have on this team
didn't
is
even play.
sitting at the house. Shiloh also, one of the best talent they got on the defense, did not play. He was sitting next to me, talking to me during the game.
So there's no Travis Hunter, there's no Shiloh, and there's no Miles Slusher, who's the other starting safety. They're down 3 of their 4 starting DBs.
Right. Top players on this team right now. That's a team shorthanded going up against these top teams. So if they can harness what they got that second half as they move forward, then they got an opportunity to do good things this year and certainly great things moving.
This was the USC Trojans. What were you ranked going in, Keyshawn? 4th?
No, we were 9.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
We were 5 at one point.
5, and you drifted back. Now
No,
you
we
fell
were
back
8.
another.
We were 8 going in.
But you're a top 10 team.
Yes.
Top 10 teams.
If ever there was such a thing as a moral victory, this was it. If ever there was a building block loss, this was it. If ever there was a win in a loss, this was it. Shedeur Sanders was sensational in the second half against a defense that is suspect because Lincoln's defense is stinking Lincoln. Even back to his days at Oklahoma, we always had playoff teams with the worst defense in the history of playoff football in college football. And you still got the Grinch who stole college football from me at Oklahoma, and he's stealing it from you now as your defensive coordinator. Yet here came Shedeur in the second half. He threw for 262 yards on your defense in the second half alone. That's 14 of 21 for 262, 3 touchdown passes, and no interceptions. And if we could quickly just see Shedeur's touchdowns, he ran for another one, but if we could just see the throws, he gets better by the throw to me because, to your point, he just hadn't played this level of football. we got to give him a little bit of a break and a little bit of a pass. Look
That
at
was
this.
a beautiful
I saw that throw from behind. I was on the SC sideline. I saw that throw, the scamper right here.
And to your point, he accelerated a little better than I thought he could.
What did you looking at, though, when you're looking at that sort of this tight end, Michael Harrison has certainly made himself some money. He's only a junior. So next year when he comes back, he's going to be so good.
Slides, eyes upfield, zing, touchdown.
Yeah, Shedeur, in terms of his running, I think a lot of people anticipate, they think the DNA is going to transfer the way, DNA transfers from his dad's to him. It don't work like that, but he's still fast enough.
All right, there was some controversy. Deion did take some criticism for that final series because they did run the ball. And I'm going to defend him. Maybe you guys will or won't, but I'm going to defend Deion on this because as he left at halftime, I believe he told Jenny Taft that we have to stay balanced. His son had been sacked more than anybody in college football coming into this game, and Colorado, coming into this game, ranked dead last in rushing in all of what we call Division I, 134 teams, dead last. So all of a sudden, they got Hankerson going a little bit because they wound up with 193 rush yards. Shedeur contributed to that. But the point is, in that final series, they threw it 6 times, but they ran it 4 times. And at one point, they had it 1st and 10 at the SC 36. And they went Hankerson up the middle for nothing, but they went right back to him on 2nd down as the clock is ticking, and he got 4 yards. You're trying to pop one. It's an easy 20/20 hindsight second guess. You look back and you say, yeah, but you were going nowhere slowly. Well, if you hit one because they're rushing outside like Dallas did at Arizona, if you pop one up the gut for 20 yards, it works. And if nothing else, you're keeping them a little more honest on defense so they can't just pin back ears and go after Shedeur. So they still go and score, and there's still 1:43 left, but maybe they could have saved a minute more of clock if they didn't run the ball. I say you have to run the ball because you were committed to running the ball in ways you weren't in the first 4 games. Then it comes down to an onside kick, and Jace Feely, who missed an early field goal, you didn't mention that because that would have been 24 points you gave him, right? You just missed an easy field goal. And Jace Feely's onside, if we can see it, it just pops straight up in the air. It's almost like it's almost like he targeted the in a good way, like he aimed the kick at the USC.
How many times has he done that this year, though?
Right, the number 2 guy in, on the receiving team is in the spot. That's what we call the hands guy. That's where they try to put the guy with the best hands because you need this ball to come all the way out here to give you time to get those 10 yards. You know what I'm saying? And so it went to like the 3rd man in. He won't have time to get.
Deion said after the game, everybody in the stadium knew if we get the onside kick, Shedeur is going to score because that's what he does. You want to talk about clutch gene? This kid's got the clutch gene because the later it gets, the more deadly accurate he gets. His intangibles are off the charts. So to me, in the big picture, just because of degree of difficulty, I thought Shedeur played a little better than Caleb did, who played great. Caleb missed one early throw, and then there was he threw what I thought was 2 second-half interceptions because one he gets away with on the pass interference. If we could see this play, I thought it was a turning point play because I don't see interference on this play.
Well, the defender has the right to go to the football just like the receiver, so I don't know.
I don't know if did he call this on the first guy or the back guy? Because I don't see the back guy. The front guy didn't look right, but that's okay. He didn't get to him. I thought that was right on time, and the ball hit him on the helmet.
But it also was on our sideline, so. When it's on the sideline, you get to screaming and holler at the ref, you spooky.
And we asked Deion when he joined us on Friday about Cormani McClain. Remember, he's the top-rated corner coming out of high school, out of Lakeland, Florida. And he had not played a lick so far in 4 games because he had not committed himself to preparing for football games the way Deion was taught to prepare for games. And he just said, I'm not going to do it to you. I'm not going to allow you to play in ways I wouldn't have been allowed to play if I didn't put in the work to prepare and be on time for meetings. So he
was
finally
sending
got
a
to play.
message to
He
every
said to
kid.
every
He said,
kid.
"This kid, you can't.
Yeah.
I don't expect the coach to help you in that situation
Yeah.
because." And Deion's talking to, okay, this is a young black athlete comes to another black coach, and he said,
Yeah.
"No.
No.
You got to do
No.
what you're supposed
No.
to do.
You have to
That's
do it."
important." And he said, "All kids, you got to do what you got."
And right away, he got to play because he almost had to play, and he breaks up a pass in the end zone that was a touchdown pass, and he gets his hand up inside and knocks the ball up and out. He picked off that pass, and then we get back to the other true freshman out of Louisiana, just like Cordell Stewart came to Colorado out of Louisiana, and that's Omarion Miller.
Yeah.
And that kid, I couldn't see electric quickness. I couldn't see rare speed, deep speed. He just gets open.
Right.
It's one of the, that's why Deion said, I hadn't seen this in practice because he's not a practice player. He's a game player. How many receivers have you known, like Keenan Allen is like this to me, who just get open? They just get open. You can't explain
it's a natural
it.
patience,
Yeah.
natural patience still. And so when you're calm like that, and you're not.
No, you're not like
say,
that.
"Oh, you're not ready.
No.
You're not ready. You're not ready."
It's
But
totally
that
natural.
patience helped him in the game. He was. I mean, he was running some great routes. I was sitting there watching. He was. They did a fabulous
Just
job.
getting open and open and open.
That crowd was
Shiloh said to me, I said, "Shiloh." I said, 14 like that? He said, he'll be starting next week.
Really?
Now we know he's going to play that way. But time would never put you in the game if I don't see it in practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, Omarion, all of a sudden, and again, they're going to play Arizona State. They're 5.5-point favorites against Arizona State. So maybe they can start stacking some wins, as you point out.
Stacking some
a couple
confidence.
couple wins and be in a bowl game.
Let's get back to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's look forward to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday night. I'm about to go head-to-head, jaw-to-jaw with Richard Sherman.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.